worrying changes starting to develop across the ice and the ocean and the biological systems in Antarctica.
For a long time, Antarctica was thought to be nothing more than a frozen wilderness at the bottom of the world, silent, empty, and buried beneath endless ice. Most people believed there was simply nothing there worth discovering. However, beneath the ice lies a world we have never seen. Some of that ice has remained untouched for millions of years, sealing away whatever is hidden below. So when scientists traveled there to study the ice itself, they expected data about climate, temperature, and time. But what they found instead raised far bigger questions. And to understand why Antarctica may be hiding far more than we ever imagined, we need to begin with the ice itself. The sheet of ice. Antarctica is not simply cold on the surface. It is buried under an ice sheet that has been forming for a very long time. In many areas, this ice is more than 4 kilometers thick. The weight is so heavy that it presses down on the land below and slowly reshapes it. This process happened gradually. Snow fell year after year and never melted. Each layer froze on top of the last, adding more pressure over time. As the ice thickened, it sealed the ground beneath it. Rivers stopped flowing. Valleys were covered. Entire landscapes disappeared from view. Scientists drill into this ice to study Earth's past. Each layer holds trapped air and particles from the time it formed, creating a record that stretches back hundreds of thousands of years. The deeper the drill goes, the further back in time it reaches. But the ice revealed more than just climate history. Radar scans showed that the land beneath the ice is not flat or lifeless. There are deep valleys, wide basins, and shapes that could only have been carved by flowing water. These formations could not have been created by ice alone. That raised an important question. If water once flowed here, the environment must have been very different from what we see today. This meant Antarctica was not always frozen. At some point, it had moving water and an active surface. The ice was not the beginning of its story. It came later. Once scientists realized this, they began to ask a more unsettling question. If water once existed beneath this ice, could anything have survived there after it froze? The answer did not come from the surface. It came from deep below, in a place without light, warmth, or air. Life in the darkness. That search below the surface quickly moved from land to water. If liquid water still existed under the ice, then scientists needed to know what lived inside it, if anything lived there at all. Researchers focused on places where the ice floats over the ocean. These ice shelves look solid from above, but underneath them, seawater moves slowly through hidden channels. In one area, instruments detected a steady flow of water under hundreds of meters of ice. There was no light, no plants, and no contact with the open sea. To study it, scientists drilled a narrow hole through the ice and lowered a camera into the water. They expected to see space or drifting particles. Instead, they saw movement. Small shrimp-like animals were swimming near the camera. These were amphipods, tiny crustaceans that usually live in deep oceans or cold seas. Finding them here was surprising, but the bigger question was how they were surviving. Amphipods normally feed on dead plants that sink from sunlit waters. Under Antarctic ice, sunlight never reaches the water. There are no algae, no plants, and no normal food chain. Scientists believe these animals survive by feeding on nutrients carried by slow-moving water or on bacteria that grow using chemical energy instead of sunlight. This type of life does not depend on plants or warmth. It depends on patience and adaptation. This discovery changed how scientists think about life in extreme places. It showed that living systems can exist in total darkness, using energy sources that are easy to miss. Once this hidden life was confirmed, attention shifted even deeper. Beneath the rivers and ice shelves lies a vast ocean floor that has barely been explored at all. The ocean underneath. As attention moved farther away from the ice shelves, researchers began to look at the ocean floor that surrounds Antarctica. This part of the world had remained mostly unmapped because thick ice and rough seas made exploration difficult. For many years, scientists believed the seafloor here was simple and shallow. New sonar scans proved otherwise. They revealed deep valleys, sharp drops, and wide trenches hidden beneath the cold water. Some of these areas reached depths of more than 7,000 meters, placing them among the deepest parts of the Southern Ocean. These deep zones are not just empty spaces. Very cold and heavy water sinks here and spreads across the ocean floor. This movement helps drive global ocean currents that affect weather and climate far beyond Antarctica. Because this water stays cold and stable for long periods, it also stores heat and carbon from the atmosphere. Small changes in these deep waters can slowly influence sea levels and temperatures around the world. Life has also been found in these depths. Simple creatures live on the seafloor, moving slowly and feeding on organic material that falls from above. They survive under intense pressure, with no light and very little food. Each new map adds more detail, but also more uncertainty. Scientists still do not fully understand how these deep areas formed or how they connect to the rest of the ocean. As research continued, it became clear that water alone could not explain Antarctica's history. The land beneath it carried evidence of a past that looked nothing like ice. The Green World. Those land clues led scientists to ask what Antarctica looked like before ice covered everything. The answer came from deep beneath the frozen surface. Researchers found plant remains trapped in layers of rock and soil. These included roots, pollen, and pieces of trees. Together, they showed that Antarctica once supported large forests. This was around 90 million years ago, when Earth was much warmer than it is today. At that time, the continent was not frozen. Rain fell regularly, rivers flowed across the land, and plants grew in thick layers. The air contained more carbon dioxide, which helped keep temperatures high. Even though Antarctica was near the South Pole, it had long, mild seasons that allowed forests to survive. Coal deposits provided strong proof. Coal forms only when large amounts of plant material are buried and pressed over millions of years. Finding coal in Antarctica means these forests lasted a long time, not just a short period. This green past explains many of the shapes hidden under the ice. Valleys, river paths, and soil layers all point to a living landscape. Once scientists understood this, they realized Antarctica was holding more than Earth's history. Some of its secrets came from much farther away. Secrets locked in ice. That realization pushed scientists to look at Antarctica not just as a record of Earth, but as a place that preserves clues from far beyond it. What they found added a new layer to the story. Antarctica is one of the best places in the world to collect meteorites. When rocks from space fall here, they land on ice instead of soil. Over time, slow-moving ice carries them toward the surface and gathers them in visible areas. This makes them easier to find than in most other places on Earth. Some of these meteorites are incredibly old. One well-known example came from Mars and formed billions of years ago. Inside it, scientists found minerals that only form when water is present. This showed that Mars once had liquid water and conditions very different from today. At the same time, Antarctica stores another kind of record closer to home. Deep ice holds tiny bubbles of ancient air. Each layer traps the atmosphere from the year it formed. By drilling ice cores, scientists can measure past levels of carbon dioxide, temperature changes, and climate patterns. These ice records stretch back hundreds of thousands of years. They show clear cycles in Earth's climate and help explain how the planet responds to change over long periods of time. Together, meteorites and ice cores turn Antarctica into a natural archive. It holds evidence of Earth's past, clues about other planets, and warnings about the future. Even now, only a small part of this frozen record has been studied. Most of it still lies buried, waiting beneath the ice. Antarctica may look empty from the surface, but the ice tells a very different story. Beneath it lies a record of moving water, living systems, changing climates, and messages from beyond Earth. Each discovery shows how much of our planet's history is still hidden from view. And with every new drill, scientists realize how little we truly know about what lies below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, because we will be uploading more crazy stories like this one in the coming weeks. Until then, see ya.